Hello, this is Jed Brewer with the Below the Line Club and with Study Groups. It's really nice to have you on the call today. We're going to be talking about the future of convenience store touch points in two different areas, or touch points that we're going to dive into. One is cleanliness, and the second is frictionless. Two trends that are increasing as we move forward into the future. COVID having a part in that, particularly on the cleanliness side, and the importance of cleanliness within our stores. And COVID's also played a part in this movement towards more of a frictionless interaction with the customer experience, but also with technological improvements that are coming along too. So really pleased to have two experts in those respected areas. The first person that's going to talk today is Joe Deluca, who's Vice President of Apter Industries, and Joe's out of Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. But they work on all things cleanliness within the convenience store area, both for frontline workers, travel plazas, convenience stores, and really just dedicated to making cleaning easier. Second, then we'll have Fiona Harris, who's CEO of ROC Associates, also known as ROC Associates. Fiona's out of Atlanta, but they're a small boutique consulting firm focused on the convenience store industry. They work with 13 of the top 20 chains that are out there in our industry and have a really deep knowledge of POS and back office systems, as well as operational best practices. And really one of their key focuses is helping align IT with operations. So as she talks a little bit about the trends that we're seeing in frictionless stores, it comes from a lot of her background in helping some of these larger chains out in the industry embrace some of these new technologies that are available. So with that brief introduction in store, I'm going to turn the floor over to Joe Deluca, who's at Apter Industries, and let them share a little bit about how to get cleaner stores, which again is an important area for all of us to be focusing on to best serve the changing needs that are out there for our customers. And we do want this webinar to be as educational as possible. So if you have any questions, I've got you on mute. Please type them into the GoToWebinar dialog box that's there, and I can relay them to Joe or Fiona at the appropriate time, because we do want to get your questions answered. So again, thank you for your time today. And Joe, let me turn it over to you.
All righty. First, I'd like to thank everybody for tuning in. And we are Apter Industries. We've been in business for over 50 years. And we manufacture cleaners for convenience stores and travel plazas. We actually manufacture them, as you can see by the little video that's going on there. That's our Gorilla Odor Killer. And it shows a little bit of the production process. Our goal is to make products that just work better. And when we do this, we have the frontliners in line, frontliners in convenience stores and travel plazas. We love the management teams, but primarily we figure if we can save time for the frontliners, make their life a little easier, they'll be much easier to manage. So management will love us too. Okay, these are just a few of our customers that we serve. We appreciate every one of them. They've enabled us to do some great things within the industry. All right, this is a simple breakdown of cleaning program components. And I've assigned a star value to each of them, 5 being the highest. But those are the five main categories. We're going to review those individually. Okay, dispensing. Dispensing, you have some options. You can use a total manual program, which is very simple. You get a rack, you get a jug pump, or you get a wall pump, and you're doing everything manually. You hit it 2 times. Our products are designed to dilute 2 pumps per spray bottle. Boom! It's simple, it's easy, and it's convenient. Some people prefer an automated system. And if you look over to the left, you'll see part of the automated system, and the other slide on the right is another part of the automated system. The third option is to have a combination of the 2 or the 3. We believe that that probably is your best bet, because a lot of stores, I mean, to automate some of the easier stuff like filling spray bottles and everything is sometimes doesn't work as well. And on the other hand, sanitizer, which is used the same dilution rate every time, it's a great thing to have automated. All right, next up is packaging. That's a 3-star, also important. And by 3 stars, we don't mean unimportant, but there's just things that we think you should be concentrating on more. When you're looking at your packaging, look for bright, easy to read packaging with simple instructions. And then in addition to that, find the package that suits your need. You'll see some of these packages are small because we don't want people having too much product on hand. We know some of the back rooms that we've been in are pretty tight. So you have a 2-ounce packet that comes in a small box, 12-ounce bottles, quarts that are ready to use, and gallons that dilute. And then for some of the bigger units, you can move into 5-gallon pails. But we don't generally do a whole lot of that. So you find the packages that make sense for you, and as your chemical expert will be helpful in this respect. Oops. Sorry, don't want to repeat that one. All right, cost. This is very important. We're up to 4 stars. And there are 3 different ways to evaluate cost. The cost per gallon is probably, this is gallon of concentrate, it's probably one of the better ones. You try to hit that mark between $12 and $18 a gallon. If you're a little bit less than $12 a gallon, you're probably going to end up with product that doesn't work very well. And if you're above $18 a gallon, you might be overpaid for product that doesn't work better. So you get up around $30 or $25 or down around $5, you are headed in the right direction. All right, our cost per use gallon. And this is something that's really I'd like you to pay attention to and be aware of, because a lot of the requests for proposal use the cost per use gallon, and it's just some of the things that are proposed are pretty ridiculous. 1/4 ounce, 1/8 of an ounce per gallon, and we call these feel-good numbers because they work great in the for the proposal, but when you get them in the stores, they don't. All right, and then finally, the best way to do this, if you can do it, is your annual cost. Take your total spend and divide it by the number of stores. And if you can find a very reputable chemical company, they'll probably give you an estimate of what your annual cost per store, average store, will be, and they'll back it. Like we know one company that's located in Pittsburgh that'll do this, and they'll actually give you free product if you exceed their expectations on the product. So I'm not going to mention that because we don't want to do any selling of this thing. All right, product quality, 5-star, obviously. You've got to find a manufacturer that uses really high quality materials, and that's kind of hard to do because it's hard to find. And you also want to find a company that deals with your industry. We have a lot of companies that we compete with that are all over the board. Our products are designed for the convenience store and the travel plaza industry. And one of the important things about product quality that's often overlooked is breaking the products down to areas where they actually fit. We call this the zone blitz approach. For instance, this is our gas island cleaning. You can see some of the boys in action out there. And this is the actual way the forecourt cleaning breaks down. You've got to have a product that's good on the pumps, that removes heavy diesel fuel deposits, but it's still safe on the decals and in everything else that's on the pump. You have to have a pump shine enhancer, not only to improve the appearance of the pumps, but also it gives you the ability to make the pumps easier to clean. you have a concrete asphalt cleaner. We think the best formulas here are using high quality surfactants that bring the oil to the surface. And then you have microbes that actually eat the oil and break it down and make it so that your runoff is acceptable to the environmental standards that are out there. And then one of the fringe products that we discovered, and it is important for the gas island, is our odor killer, which was the product we were making at the beginning of the show. That has two purposes. First of all, it makes it much more pleasant for your people that are using the pump, because they don't smell all the trash and all the nasty stuff that gets stuffed in there. And it also keeps the bees and flies away. And so they don't have to worry about swatting and pumping at the same time. All right, a more obvious zone is center store. And the one thing I'd like to touch on here is the floor cleaning. Don't skimp on your floor cleaner. Just to use ours as an example, our floor cleaner is designed to really get the dirt out of the pores. And this enables you to keep the floor at a really high non-skid level, because once those pores are open, your floor is no longer slippery. If your product isn't working well, you're not going to remove all the dirt, and you're going to have more problems with slipping. And also find a product that doesn't leave a residue. Ancillary cleaning. This is something that probably a lot of other companies aren't going to be messing with. These are the very small zones that exist within a convenience store or a travel plaza. Your fountain machine drain cleaner, for instance. You get that coagulated syrup that clogs up the drip tray line, and it leaves a horrible odor, and there's spillover onto the floor, which creates a slip hazard. That's one thing that we manufacture. We tried using our other products. None of them work. Right now, if you're not using this product, your people are probably pouring bleach or sulfuric acid or something that's not going to work as well, but is going to cause other problems. And then some of the other zones: stainless steel cleaning, coffee pot cleaner, and oven cleaner. The one thing I'd like to mention with that is some of the combi ovens that most of you guys are using nowadays have a real sensitive element. And if you use the wrong cleaning product in it, you'll void your warranty. So we work with the oven manufacturers to make sure that this doesn't happen, and most of them will give us a guarantee for so that you're covered. Restroom cleaning, pretty obvious here. The one thing I want to touch on is the odor killer. You've got to have something that kills odor. We have a product that covers up odor, but kills it while that cover up is in effect. And it just gives you, it's the number one thing that people notice when they walk into a restroom. So you can have a sparkling clean restroom. If it smells bad, you're not going to get good results. And we have something we call the 45-second spip up, where your employees go in multiple times a day, pick up trash, wipe the sinks, spray the odor killer. They're in and out of there in 45 seconds. And you combine that with your heavy duty cleaning, which is what the other three products are for, and you have a great program. The heavy duty cleaning would be done, once a day, preferably at night. All right, supply chain management. This is a number 5 on the STAR scale. And 5 years ago, this wouldn't have even been an issue, because it was real easy to get products into the store. Well, with the onset of COVID and the supply chain issues, you really want to know who your manufacturer is. And just to use the top part of that slide, the typical information flow is the retailer is out of product, so he calls his grocery wholesalers. And the grocery wholesalers they do an unbelievable job of keeping things in stock, particularly our items. But if they're short, they don't know who the manufacturer is, so they call the Jan-San house that's supplying them, and then the Jan-San house calls the chemical manufacturer, which is us. Well, we don't want to bother the grocery wholesalers. So if you don't get the answer that you want from them in short order, call us, email us, and you'll get an answer. We'll do the research for you. We'll take the product, cut up that chain, find out if the grocery wholesaler has it. If they don't have it, we'll expedite it to them. And in worst case scenario, we did this throughout COVID for our customers. If the grocery wholesaler can't get the product fast enough, because there is a delay, they order the product and we keep a ton of it in stock, and then it goes to them, and then you get it on your next delivery day. If you don't have sanitizer, dish detergent, disinfectants, you can't operate. We'll send it directly to your store, and we'll do it in an effort, in a financial means that won't punish you, because we're not worried about making money in emergency situations. We want to make sure that our customers have what they need to operate when they need it. All right, now we're into the lighter part of this presentation. This is Jason's favorite part. It shows you the benefits of utilizing a cleaning program. And this is the Cleanometer. It's a very scientific device that was developed by, I think, one of our technical people and refined in some of the bigger labs across the nation. And the bottom line here is cleaner stores sell more product. It's pretty simple. And so is the Cleanometer, if you want to be honest. Okay, and finally, your supplier should be a resource. They should be able to help you with the EPA. No, I'm talking about runoff when you have oil spills or you're cleaning. Health department, the sanitizing aspect, oven manufacturers, making sure that they're happy. Flooring manufacturers. We've had more calls from people that buy products from flooring manufacturers, and they're paying $40 a gallon. If you remember that first slide, your top end per gallon of concentrate is $18. And we work with them to make sure that they know that our product is safe, which it is, and won't hurt their floors, and it saves you gives you a better quality product at a much lower price. And the same thing with the fuel dispenser manufacturers. If you have any issues with them and what they want you to use, we will deal with them directly. And the goal is to let us do what we're good at and let you concentrate on running your business and not worry about the little things that go along with cleaning a convenience store and how you're going to get the product there. And that pretty much wraps it up for us. If you have any questions, you can visit our website, email us, call us. We'd love to talk to you. But thank you very much, because I know how busy everyone is.
Yeah, Joe, a couple questions for you. One, having a clean store is super important, right? Just what you said, having a clean store makes more money. Two, labor is historically tight, and just trying to find people to staff our stores. It's getting a little bit better, but still a big challenge. How important is it to have the right cleaning product so your store employees can be spending more time doing other things as opposed to cleaning?
Well, and that's our total goal, to be honest with you. More importantly than the labor shortage, we want the people that are in the stores to have success, because their jobs are tough. I mean, they are really tough. And if you don't give them the best possible products and the best possible simple instructions for each surface to succeed, you're making their job too tough. And they already have enough things that are impossible to solve. This is something that's easy to solve. You just have to be willing to invest the research to find the right company. And quite frankly, we're, as much as I hate to admit it, we're the right company. I don't know anybody that does it better. And real quick on the labor issue, the old adage that for every dime you spend on product, you're going to spend 10 dimes or $1 on the labor.
And Joe, I know you're not here to sell, and I appreciate that, but just give me a real quick snippet on why you feel that you are the right company.
Quite frankly, we researched the heck out of it. As I mentioned earlier, convenience stores and travel plazas make up a huge percentage of our business. And this really became apparent when our competitors during COVID serviced their other markets before they serviced the convenience stores and the service plaza. And we were able to get our customers products in the worst time. And that's number one. Number two, we're dedicated once again to the frontline workers. And because of that, we research all the new surfaces that come out, the flooring types and everything else to make sure that we have the best possible product. And third, we're a small company. And when you're a small company, you don't waste money on a lot of advertising or anything else that's frivolous, and you put the money into the product. And we discovered when you put the money into the product, you save a ton of money because you don't get complaints and returns and everything else. And that's pretty much it in a nutshell.
Yeah, thank you, Joe. I appreciate that. And one last question for you. You mentioned supply chain, product availability. What's the general theme on how available are these products today? Is that something that retailers are struggling getting access to, the right products that they want to clean their stores?
They are getting products. I don't know that they're getting the right products. And unfortunately, when you have that long supply chain, when you're dealing with you have the extra link with the Jan-San house, they usually carry 3 or 4 different lines, and they're going to ship what they need to ship to try to get you something, which is admirable. But with us, our product line is, the majority of our business is made up with probably 15 products. And we know the seasons. We know when they're going to, we knew at the beginning of March, and when COVID was starting, that we were going to need tons of disinfectant. And we brought in raw materials, and we don't do just-in-time manufacturing anymore. We make sure that we have what we need to provide enough product for emergency situation. And did I cover that for you, or is there anything else that I missed?
No, that's okay. Yeah, well, thank you so much, Joe. I really appreciate all your time here today. And my big takeaway is, yeah, labor is tight. If you're using the wrong product or not the best product, it feels like, one, you're not going to do as good of a job, and two, it's going to take you a lot longer, or your employee a lot longer to get the job done. I don't know what the price differentials are on getting the right product, but it feels like that may be a small solvable investment to be able to make, just like what you said, Joe. So yeah, thank you for your time. We're going to turn the conversation over to Fiona Harris now at ROC, which is another trend, not only trying to keep our stores clean or clean to even the next level. Cleanliness has always been important, but even more so today, but is frictionless. And there's a lot of technology that's out there emerging on how do we reduce that friction for our customers so the transaction can be quicker and just the higher customer experience overall. So Fiona Harris, again, with ROC Associates, who works with several chains out there in the industry just on this issue, including others. But yeah, share with us a little bit, Fiona, about some of the various frictionless formats available to retailers, among other things.
Yeah, absolutely. And I actually go through several iterations of different solutions out there. I kind of want to preface the presentation with the fact that I was brought in to open a frictionless store pre-COVID and pre-labor crisis. So I don't, obviously there's a lot more conversation now around how this can save labor, but that was not the driver for what I was asked to do. It was in 2019, July. Fortune 100 company asked me. They were, I'll get to the details of it. Anyway, it is more focused on labor, but every customer I'm working with on frictionless, there's not one size fits all. And it's really, what are you trying to address? I had some customers that wanted to increase throughput, and that's why they wanted to go frictionless. Other customers wanted to build stores in places where they don't play today to get incremental sales. urban stores without fuel, for example, expand their brand, and even get into spaces where they don't operate today, like in office buildings and the ground floors of condominiums and things like that. So there's lots of different drivers for why frictionless. It's not just a labor reduction. One of the other drivers is that millennials, of which we all employ some, I'm sure, they don't want to scan Cokes and smokes anymore. That is not what they want to do. And we're not reducing labor, we're redistributing it, really. And it allows for a more interesting job role as a brand ambassador in a frictionless store. And, you'll get better retention from employees. So a couple of kind of caveats to start this out. And then, let me see, I don't know why it's not moving along here for me. It was a minute ago. There we go. So you see there that it says, we're reimagining the consumer experience. Now, COVID obviously has changed things drastically, but I say the future is now, and I said that back in 2019. I didn't know what I didn't know, and when this company brought me in to do this frictionless store, I was obviously exposed to all the different companies that are doing it, all the different formats of technology. And I apologize, I'm just getting over a cold. But I said the future is now back in 2019. What COVID has done has accelerated retailers' strategy to get towards innovative solutions, emerging technologies. One of the things I don't talk about here, and I think it's actually more important in the labor crisis than an autonomous store, is food robotics. A lot of my customers, the first thing I see them do is shut down food service at night. And so we've had great success with a few customers in putting a pizza vending machine outside. It takes up one parking space, holds 70 pizzas. You can partner with a local family-owned pizza place. They'll assemble them if you don't have pizza making capabilities, and that's a great feel-good story that you're supporting a local business. So I'm not talking about food robotics today, but I'm finding that that's more palatable in some cases. Again, not one size fits all for anything. So what do? We obviously work in petroleum C-store primarily, but we do hospitality as well. We work with Culver's, for example. And we work on technology, process, and digital platforms. And similar to what you saw, those are some of the customers that we work with. So quite a few there, I'm sure that you recognize. Currently, we're heavily engaged with Circle K, Cumberland Farms, Racetrack, and a lot of smaller retailers as well. A lot of the smaller ones, Bell stores, for example, Hafner's, are looking to build, or when they are renovating a store, put it in a good position to take on these emerging technologies in some form. Again, not one size fits all, but at least positioning themselves to be able to, because there are some ceiling height requirements and other things that that would need to be thought about. So the disruption of retail, which is what led me into the world of emerging technologies. We started out with department stores, then drugstores gave a smaller format, faster to get in and get out, then convenience stores, 7-Eleven, really knocked things on its side. Then we got into e-commerce, right? Then we got into, delivery. And anyway, you can kind of see that kind of, flow of the disruption. And obviously Amazon is our biggest disruptor, and that was the reason I was brought in to open a store. I think online sales went up 120% in the first year of COVID, which was 2020. So what are the industry rags saying? Everybody's talking about it. Not the fact that people are looking at it now because of COVID. COVID is just accelerating people's strategies if they were already going down that path. And fortunately, we can help to accelerate even further, because we've evaluated all of the players in this space, and we know the good, the bad, and the ugly, and there's all of that at play. It's a bit of a foot race right now between the startups, and who's winning the race this week can change next week. They're developing very quickly, and it's moving at lightning speed. So what is an autonomous checkout? It's a combination of weight sensors on the shelves, cameras, computer vision, and deep learning. So it is cashierless. I'm sure all of you have heard of Amazon Go. Many of you will have been to one. That's really what we're talking about here. Now, we're also finding that as cameras improve, there's less reliance on sensors, but the different startups out there will tell you different things in terms of whether they believe they can do cameras only or whether they believe they have to have sensors. We worked with one company that said, gotta have sensors. A year later, they dropped them and we're doing camera only. We had one that said, nope, we're never doing sensors. and a year later they were saying they couldn't do it with cameras only. So it's changing, you know, frequently, and moving very quickly in terms of development and delivery. But it's just the walk in, walk out. You know, it was interesting at NACS last year, there wasn't a sniff of camera vision. This year, there were 2. Now, NRF was different. NRF had everybody there. NACS only just invited or had people come this year. And Amazon, it was interesting. They had a very small booth tucked in the back, and the Amazon logo, you really had to search for it. I think they know that not many people want to invest more money in them to help them cause more disruption. You know, what's one of the really critical things with this technology is commoditizing the data you get. I get to see who walks past my store and doesn't come in. So out of every 50 people, only 5 are coming in. Why? Are we not telling them how to download the app and how to navigate this store? 78% of people think they're stealing, which obviously is not the case. So how many of those people are walking by because they're too afraid to come in? And that's why I say you redistribute labor and have a brand ambassador to help the customers get used to this new technology, this new way of engaging, you know, a consumer on their journey. But the data gathered, you can see people walking by, not coming in. You can see generic demographics, male, female. Were they smiling when they walked up to a shelf? Dwell times, traffic patterns, reach and put back. You can't get that kind of valuable data, you know, in your stores today. It's tough to do unless you've got a really good camera system. So the amount of information that we gather is critical, in my opinion. It's next gen for the next gen, not one size fits all. I mentioned that. You know, it's starting to become more plug and play, and you know, it really is becoming built for scale now. Is it where I think it needs to be to convert a full-size store? No. They will tell you it is. I will tell you it's not, and I can tell you why. And I can tell you the questions to ask that will indicate that they're not being as truthful as they should be, which is interesting to me. I worked for Radiant Systems back in '99, and we were a very small company, still considered a startup. We were not cagey about where we were. If we had it in the system, we would tell people, and if we didn't, we would tell them we didn't. Nobody's asked for it yet, so why do you need it? But these new startups are very cagey, and they don't want us to know exactly where they are. So, and I can talk about that to anybody, you know, after this presentation. So why all the interest? Obviously, again, pre-COVID, there was already interest. COVID just accelerated, but it eliminates the biggest customer pain point, which is checkout wait times. Now, it also makes things low touch, no touch. Provides incremental revenue streams via new locations where you might not play today. Redistributes labor, which is now focused on improving the consumer experience, and it will help you retain employees and hire more easily. It creates a destination shopping experience. If you're in small markets and you're the only one doing this, you're immediately a destination because everybody wants to see what this new tech is about. Increased transaction throughput is another benefit. Reduce shrink. Obviously, nobody can steal. And I can explain all of that if anybody has questions on it. You'll be able to do personalized loyalty and promotions, right? Which is another avenue that everybody's talking about, is really personalizing the shopping experience. And there's also really cool shelf edge technology that you'll see in the video of my store shortly. And it allows for 24/7 opening hours in a climate of labor shortages, obviously. And then I mentioned the insights you get that can be commoditized, and I mentioned the generic demographics that you can get, and I think that's all important information. So I said there's no one size fits all, and there isn't. Everybody is on a different path of this journey with emerging technologies, and that's one of the things that we do with each customer is try to figure out where are you going? Well, where are you now? Where are you going? If you're just embarking on customer self-service, that's probably not, you're probably not quite ready for prime time with some of the other stuff, but I can introduce you to an alternative to the giant NCR customer self units. The Barker ones aren't too bad, but there's camera vision self checkout now that is might be a good fit for some of you. So again, you have to work with somebody like me to figure out what is your path and what you're able to do today versus, hey, you might be a year out or 2 years out. So things to consider operationally: product training adds to the complexity and time it takes to introduce new products. Think about that. We have to train the cameras to understand a product and recognize it. So you can't come in and do a complete reset and not be prepared for it, because we have to train the cameras. The training is getting better and better and faster and faster. And that is one of the differentiators between these companies. If fully autonomous, how and when to deploy the labor needed, and how do you manage the labor? You know, you got to work with your vendors to see if they'll stock shelves. I relied on the gig economy. And if you're not familiar with it, it's basically third-party companies that other companies like yourselves can reach out to, and you can get feet on the street from them that are trained under your guidelines. They're very flexible in the way they operate. But that's what millennials want to do. They want to go on, you know, they got a concert tonight. They want to go on the app and go, oh, I'll pick up that gig this afternoon and I'll have spending money for tonight, because they get paid via PayPal. I've even got some customers looking into that to try to stopgap some of the labor issues today. So if you're not familiar with the gig economy, you'll probably want to get familiar with it. Technical considerations. So if you're going camera only, it's less complex and costly, but it can be less accurate. And so, you know, you get a guy with big hands and a 5-hour energy in his hand, you want that weight sensor to confirm what was picked up based on weight and vision. The cameras are learning constantly, by the way, you know, to the point where if a customer picks up a Coke and puts it down with the milk, the cameras know and can send an alert to have that fixed. You know, the other things that are differentiators, are you having store side servers? I had to have a new air system put in because it was melting my chocolate bars. Now we're seeing a lot more companies operating with oh God, what's it called? LiNAR and edge technology. So again, it's moving so quickly from when I started back in 2019. You need to have pretty good internet bandwidth. That's another thing to think about. And in some cases, ceiling height. That's becoming less and less, but it still is a consideration. So if you're 2 years out, you still might want to think about this, because if you're building stores or renovating, it might be a consideration. And we need to, you know, talk about, you know, your existing customers and their experience. Do you want to disrupt that, or do we want to put a store outside a store? You know, section off a store inside the store. Again, these are all questions that we would ask. I've got one customer here in Atlanta that did not want to disrupt their current experience in the store. So they're looking for incremental revenue by opening up separate locations that will bring in that extra revenue, expand their brand without disrupting their current experience. So here's a few examples, right? Store within a store, like I mentioned, store outside a store. You can even just install the cameras and, you know, just monitor it for 6 months, compare it to your transaction journal to see how accurate it is and see how happy you are with it. And you still get a lot of those insights, right? The reach and pushback, dwell times, traffic patterns. And yet you're not disrupting anyone, because you're really just monitoring and learning about this technology in the background. So again, wide swath of how you approach this and what works for you, but we can help you get there. Examples of what's out there today. That first one is the alternate to self-checkout that I mentioned. That white roof over top is cameras. That white platform on the bottom is a weight sensor. It won't take up any more space than your existing point of sale. So if you have a store with 3 point of sales, you could put 2 of these in. All customers do. And the customer that I opened the camera vision store, they were using these in their head office and are deploying them out in the world. And it was extremely accurate. I never saw it go down, and I never had a wrong order. And all customers do is walk up, put the products on the platform, the cameras capture it, shove their credit card in, and off they go. Alternate to those giant, you know, current self-serve checkouts. The next one is walk-up technology. Out at the pump, where, you know, you want to grab as many incremental sales as you can. You got 4.5 minutes of somebody pumping gas on average, and that's a way to capture them. You can have video and sell that space to you know, to vendors. So let's walk up using camera vision. They are standing at their car, they download an app, they tie a payment, they walk up. They'll have a QR code. That's what opens the door. The cameras capture the purchase. They never have to go inside the store, but you're still getting sales from those outdoor people that might not have gone in anyway. And you can put hot snacks, cold snacks. I realize I'm talking really fast, but I want to get through it, so there's time for questions. Can I get a time check, Jed?
Yeah, you've got about 15 minutes.
Okay, cool. Thank you. This is a modular walk-in, so I said maybe a store outside a store. It could be, you could be servicing in small communities, special events at high school, football games. These can be moved very easily, but you could also use it to combat the labor problems. And, you know, if you're having to close stores at night, plop this in. When you conquer the labor shortage, you can move this to a different store. So that's a walk in, walk out. You swipe a credit card to go in, or you can do the QR code. Credit card's faster. Works exactly like Amazon Go. It's just a smaller format and it's outside. I'm going to go right below the modular walk-in. What you're seeing in the robotics, that's an artisan pizza machine that can be, that's the one I was telling you about, that can be outside, takes up 1 parking space. It can be indoors as well, but it holds 70 pizzas. You don't need any special permits for food because the pizzas go in assembled. You've got that big video screen to advertise, but it's started out low touch, now it's no touch. You can order from your phone. You can get the pizza hot in 3 minutes, or you can take it home and cook it. That's getting a lot of attention. Then there's other food robotics, Sally the salad maker. It does noodles, it does parfaits, it does salads. That was bought by Grubhub after I was working with them. I had some problems with this. Anytime you're looking at something that's got chopped up food, if it's not cut exactly to spec, it gets clogged. There's a more fancy looking, exciting pizza machine out there that swirls the sauce on top. It slings the pepperoni on, and kids love it and they jump up and down. But one chunk of tomato in that tomato sauce, your machine's down. That's why I like Pizza Forno more so than I like the other one that's out there. And I can't think what it's called now, but anyway, if you see one that uses chopped up vegetables that has to be dispensed, be wary. The last one, which is the walk-in, that's actually a picture of the store that I opened in Santa Ana, California. It's in the ground floor of a condominium building, a high-end condo, and it shares that ground floor with a coffee shop with shared seating area in the middle. So, some of you may or may not be familiar with Aramark. They don't have their brand out there a lot, but they do managed dining on university campuses. If you go to a major corporation's office building and they've got one of those nice fancy cafeterias with a sandwich station and hot and cold, that's either Aramark or one of their competitors. They do vending machines. They do facilities management. They were deathly afraid of Amazon. They had heard that Amazon might get into their swim lane of managed dining and doing micro markets in office buildings. So they called me, and I'm allowed to talk about it now, but I had to sign my life away back then because they didn't want Amazon to get wind of what we were doing. They wanted me to open 3 stores. Well, that's in the slide, so I'm going to keep going. Called Quick Eats. So just a little bit about Aramark. I mean, they serve nearly 2 billion meals each year, 1 billion cups of coffee, 300,000 employees, $8 billion a year, global company. And they said, look, sign the NDAs, come into our office. This is the only slide they showed me. This is how they kicked off my introduction to the project. And they said, look, when Amazon announced it was buying Whole Foods, look what happened to some of the stocks out there. Prescription drugs was even more dramatic, and they didn't even do it. There was a rumor that was spread saying they were going to get into prescription drugs, and look what happened to Walgreens and CVS stock just from the thought of them joining. This is what Aramark was afraid of, and this is what these large companies are terrified of. When you hear Amazon is a disruptor, this is what they mean. And they said to me, we want to disrupt them before they just disrupt us. So what was the charter for the project for Aramark? Close convenience where you live, work, and play. We've got small format stores. We could put them in a gym where they're not generating any revenue today because we can put them in small spaces and create that incremental sales and offer your customers close convenience. We were told there are no crazy ideas. In fact, they wanted crazy ideas from us. Nothing was off the table. Fail fast and fix fast. Ideate and iterate. They wanted 3 stores. The first one was to prove camera vision worked. The second one was to add in IoT sensors. How many times does the bathroom door have to open before it needs to be cleaned so we could deploy labor? Then it was going to be food robotics. Like our coolers in that first store, I had an app. I was monitoring them. If the temperature is X number of degrees for X amount of time, the door's locked until I could get somewhere there. So there's no chance of anybody getting sick. But it was fail fast and fix fast. Take technology first approach when you have to fix something until we can't. And if we can buy it from someone, great, or if we have to build it, we will. But it was fail fast and fix fast. So the Quick Eats team, we wanted to have self-disruptive paradigms. We can't survive legacy frameworks. And that was one thing we worried about. We knew that Aramark was kind of an old boys company, very isolated in verticals. In fact, if we wanted to use their vending people to take care of our store, they were going to upcharge us. So it's a very disjointed company, and we were nervous that the old paradigms would stop us from moving forward. And so we were told by the executive team, act as a startup. And they said, most importantly, and it was from the CEO, don't let us get in your way. And that's when we knew that we would not be restrained by the paradigms that existed in the legacy company, and that we were going to operate as a startup with a budget. And the executive said, please don't come and ask us for decisions because we will derail you. So this is the store that I opened. It's a very, very quick video. And take a look at the shelf labels. Let me grab this. Yeah, oh, come on. Maybe I have to do that. Yeah, there we go. But yeah, take a look at the shelf labels, because that's kind of a nice thing, that you don't have to be a frictionless store to have these shelf labels. And you'll see that we're selling advertisement on it, but because we've got the cameras, when a customer walks close to the shelf label, it changes to a price sign. But they've downloaded the app, they use a QR code to go in. Now you see that the shelf label's there, and now they change to a price label. You can see the black dots on the ceiling, that's the cameras, and then the black dots behind the gondolas are also cameras. You can bring friends in with you. We're not going to ask you to leave your 4-year-old out on the sidewalk, and that's called cohort shopping. And just walk out. You notice we've got a big iPad over there. You get the idea. We've got a big iPad over there that is for the purposes of training customers, and we have brand ambassadors there for the first couple of months. So that, and we were doing surveys as people came in and left, and people that, would walk by to the condos and didn't come in, just to see what the whole, what was it. And I'll be honest with you, it was two things. One, they were afraid of it. And two, there's this horrible ingrained idea that we're taking jobs away from people, even self-serve checkout. If you push customers and they go, no, I don't want to do that. You go, well, no, I can get you out faster. No, I don't want to do it. If you continue to push them, you will find out that they don't want to take jobs away. A tip for all of you doing self-checkout, put up "we're hiring" sign above every self-checkout you've got, because people don't want to tell you that's the reason that they don't use self-checkout, but it is. And I would say to people, hey, I'm hiring. How many shifts could you work for me this week? And that kind of lightened the mood. But if you've got self-checkout, put the hiring sign above each one. All right. This stuff is just, and you'll get the PowerPoint, but this is some of the analytics. This is the dashboard we built out and some of the analytics. If you look in that upper right box, that's all we see. Faces are grayed out. All we care about is that the feet, the elbows, the hands, and the shoulders, it's like a stick figure. And that's how the cameras see a hand going in, reaching something out. But we don't know who you are. We don't care who you are, quite frankly. We just want to, speed throughput, well, whatever our goal is. And again, everybody's goal is different in what they're trying to accomplish. But, age, gender, mood, dwell time, footfall, eye gaze, reach patterns, all stuff that we don't get today. And all of this data can be sold. And that's going to be the next big thing. In-store behavioral tracking. So average of check-ins by hour, purchase products, time spent in store, most put back products per day. Why are people picking up Diet Pepsi 6 times in a day and putting it back? Well, maybe it's expired. So a lot of insights that, we can be a lot more proactive. Time spent in the store by weekday, repeat customers, we can see all of that. So a lot of really good insights. Here's some of the patterns. So you see cooler reaches, you see footfalls in the store. We know how long they stay at each gondola. Hugely helpful for marketing and for merchandising your stores. I still see so many companies out there that put health and beauty at the front counter because it's small and people are afraid of stealing it. I'm never going to look at a pack of Advil and go, that's a good looking pack of Advil, let me grab one. That's, if you hide that stuff in the back room and I've got a headache, I'm going to ask the cashier, do you have any Advil? Keep that stuff off your front counter. That's your Century 21 real estate. And every customer that walks in the door is going to end up at that front counter, and nobody's going to spontaneously buy Advil or Pepto-Bismol. They will, however, pick up a king-size Snickers bar or a Twix bar or your promotional items. And if you use promotional items, you get to swap it out monthly, keeps it interesting. But get those phone cables and health and beauty away from your front counter. Hide it. People will ask. So this is just some of the press releases that we had. So it was obviously Aramark. We worked with a company called AWM. I was the lead consultant. And yeah, we checked every camera vision company out, and we went with AWM. One of the inviting things was it was a one-stop shop, and they had the shelf labels. One thing on shelf labels, if you're looking at electronic ones, don't get the ones that are a single label with the electronics built in. You want what's called edge to edge. You noticed on mine, it was one long strip. If you get those little individual ones and you do a reset, somebody still has to walk in that store and move those one labels, to the right product if you've got different size products. The edge to edge labels, you don't have that issue. And we won Best Retail Concept, given to us by Food Management for 2020. Interesting story. I started in July 2019. Nobody saw COVID coming. I was set to, and I'm in Atlanta, and I was set to open the store in California, Santa Ana, first week of shelter in place, March 24th. I couldn't believe it. But I couldn't go to the CEO of an $8 billion company and say, that store that doesn't need humans, I can't open it because I can't fly there. So I literally opened the store, and for the first year, I was running it from my couch in Atlanta. So the future is now. You want to change by design, not by default. COVID has accelerated, and obviously with the workforce challenges, but this was already in play, and people were already going down this path. In 2018, quite frankly, and in 2019, all COVID did was accelerate the need for it. And of course, the millennials, not wanting to work as much and having a lot more offers for jobs as well, which is why it's important that we create a better experience for our employees. They don't want to scan Cokes and smokes, and they don't want to tell you that either. So that's why I say, it's not just reimagining the consumer experience, it's reimagining the employee experience as well. So obviously there's tons of low touch, no touch technologies out there, everything from self-checkout to the walk up, but a lot in food robotics as well. So anybody that's interested, we're happy to give you a 1 hour, what are your thoughts on this stuff? What's keeping you up at night? So yes, happy to do that. There you go. How'd I do, Jed? On time?
Oh, very good. Yeah, thank you, Fiona. I'm thinking from a retailer's perspective, the traditional retailer who's got normal checkout and everything. Like in this movement towards frictionless, what's the best way to start, or how do you even get your toe in the water in it?
Yep, that's the number one question I always get. And to be quite frank, I need to know a little bit about the customer. I need to know, where's their technology today? If they're at the point where, they need to replace their POS, and they're thinking about self-checkout, well, let's go camera vision self-checkout, because you can still learn a lot about camera vision by putting that kind of self-checkout in. If you're already down the path and you started evaluating camera vision, then that's a different conversation. Are you looking to disrupt your existing customer? If you are, then we're looking at a store within a store, or if it's a small footprint, we could convert the whole store. So there really is no good answer, Jed. It's working with people that are knowledgeable. You don't want to rely on the camera vision companies. They will tell you exactly what you want to hear. It's a race for logos right now because they're all doing Series A and Series B fundraising. So any press release, but even if you've somewhat committed, that's all they're looking for. So definitely, that's why I say myself, and there's others out there that have been working with this technology, we can help you navigate this and learn from all the lessons I learned that Aramark paid for, quite frankly, and what I've continued to learn with other customers as I go down this path with several customers right now. But again, not one size fits all. I need to understand where you are on your journey with technology, how risk averse, or how willing are you to to lead the charge, or do you want to be a fast follower? There's just a lot that goes into shaping what your roadmap might look like.
That makes sense. Yeah, very idiosyncratic, as I would say, to specific retailer.
Yeah,
Another
I've got a
question
couple of customers right now that are simply building new stores with an eye towards, in the 1 to 3 year range, going down the path of camera vision. They at least want their stores to be able to, equip it when they're ready.
Yeah, and the one member asked, what vendor did you use for your store? I think it was AWS Tech or something like that. What vendor was it?
It's AWM Smart Shelf. They started out doing those LED shelf strips for shelves, and then they got a new CEO, and camera vision was taking off, and Amazon was leading the charge, and they wanted to, get in the mix. So we evaluated everybody at that time, and AWM led the pack. Now, not the case anymore. I work with a company called Excel Robotics. I work with iFi. We've evaluated everyone, and we've got a matrix that we put together. And again, even if you don't want us to help you all the way down the journey, we can certainly prepare you on things. For example, one tip: ask how long it takes for a customer to get their receipt. What we learned, because we took our knocks to, we had to learn the hard way. These companies tell you, oh, they get the receipt right away. And then you go live and they've got 6 people behind the curtain monitoring every transaction. They won't tell you how many fails there are. And when we question this and go, you didn't tell us, we were going to have manual review mode where you're doing every transaction and it takes 40 minutes for a customer to get the receipt. You didn't tell us that. And they go, well, why would you care? From a customer's perspective, it looks like we're doing it without manual review. So there's questions that you can ask and things that you can push the vendor on to not hit the pitfalls that we hit back then. I'm still in manual review mode, by the way.
Yeah.
Not as
Fiona,
many transactions, but certainly we are.
Time on today, and we're going to go ahead and wrap it up here. But if anybody has questions for Fiona, feel free to reach out. We'll send out her contact information. And the same for Joe Deluca at Apter Industries. And really appreciate Joe talking about the trends and cleanliness and how we can keep our stores in tip-top clean shape, as well as provide the right products for our employees. So appreciate your time as we all navigate the future of always changing retail space. Hope you have a good day. Bye.
Thanks, everyone.